Where are you?
And we are live. What's up, girl?
Hello.
All right. So here we are, Tribe Talking on a Tuesday with Miriam and my guest, Ashanti Lilley. You just asked where I'm at. I'm at my sister's house. We live in New Orleans, but with all of the stuff going on, we came out to the Houston area to breathe and be safe.
And that's so you. Like, how is it you in Houston?
I always find it right, and it's so crazy because I'm Fatima, so and all of these eyes of Fatima, they take care of me. The world takes care of me.
How is it you in Houston? Like, you don't even live there. I don't understand.
I don't, but the world embraces me everywhere I go. I keep telling y'all, everywhere I go, I belong. I don't know why y'all don't hear me when I say that. Hear me when I say it. Everywhere I go, I belong. We're staying in a hotel, but she offered up her space for me to come and talk to you, which is what we're here for, what you're here for. So for the world to know, or whoever chimes in, as you know, I'm Miriam. This is Ashanti. I've known Ashanti for a long time.
I think I have to say how long, okay?
I'm not gonna, because I'm a young spring chicken out this joint. I don't need to, but a while. I've when I moved back to North Carolina the last time, and ended up at Welburn. We met around that time.
Yep.
So like my seventh grade year, year six, because you were 1 year behind me.
I am.
But we had mutual friends and things.
We did.
But I don't think we actually got to be cool. Until to high school, and then much later.
Yeah.
But I'm so proud of you, and I'm so excited of everything.
Thank you. I'm very proud of you as well.
Yes, I guess so. I guess
so many of us doing big things from Andrews.
You know what? That is actually not let's stay alive. It's a couple of years ago I might have been like, prove it. But I feel like we graduated a self-sufficient group of folks. You know what I mean? So
yes.
But today we're talking about you. So, Ashanti.
Yes, ma'am.
This will be when you give us your 30-second commercial. Who are you? Where are you from? Where are you? What do you do? All the things you want us to know in your 30-second commercial. And
here we go. Okay, so as we just said, my name is Ashanti Lilley. I am from High Point, North Carolina, North Kakalaki, but we don't call it that. I am an attorney. I live in Augusta, Georgia. I have been practicing law since about 2009, graduate from Emory Law School. Been living in Augusta since around 2010. Had a brief stint in DC where I saw you on the street one day. I don't know if you remember that. Randomly. And then I moved back to Augusta. I currently practice in family law and criminal law. Initially, my career was primarily based in criminal law, and I have just started doing family law in the last 4 years or so, and I've loved it. And there are a lot of parallels with criminal law, and so I'm enjoying it.
Nice. Well, thank you.
Thank you.
Now, I do have a question right off the break. Emory University. So I remember the first time I ever went on that campus, it was for a speech and debate tournament in like my junior year. It was like they have a huge high school forensic league tournament there every year. Okay. And it was so intimidating, like just big and cold, and to be in like Atlanta area type thing, What was that experience like for you?
Well, you know what? It was an eye opener for me. I come from humble beginnings. And so, undergrad, I went to NC State University, and keep in mind, that's a public school. A lot of farmers' kids, go there. Just a lot of, just regular working class kids from kids from working class backgrounds. And so when I went to Emory, I wasn't necessarily prepared for what private school meant, and for what that status meant. I enjoyed my experience there. I met a lot of good people. It was different. I remember, so let me go ahead and say, I wanted to move to Atlanta. Okay. That was my goal. And I think that was a goal for a lot of people back then and people now, right?
Yeah.
I wanted to move to Atlanta.
I don't know why,
but Emory was the highest ranked school in Atlanta. I didn't know anything about Emory's, like the prestige. I didn't know anything about it. At that time. It was like one of the top 20 law schools in the country. All of that was cool, but I wanted to move to Atlanta. And so I decided on Emory because it was in Atlanta and it was the highest ranked school there. So I was like, okay, this is where I'm going. It was different for me. A lot of the kids that went to Emory came from private school backgrounds for undergrad and came from private school, like high schools, middle schools, elementary schools. They grew up in private schools. I did not. And so a lot of the things that they brought to the table, I had no clue as to what they were talking about. Even something as simple as like Jack and Jill, right? I had never heard of Jack and Jill before I got to Emory Law School.
There's Jack and Jill where we are.
I had never heard of Jack and Jill before I got to law school. And I'm not saying it wasn't there, but I didn't run in those circles. Right. Okay. Like, that wasn't a circle that my parents were in. My parents didn't do Jack and Jill. I didn't know anything about a Jack and Jill. Right. Right. And so just things like that, just kids that came from different backgrounds, and like we all came together though. And so my first year law school class, I think there was maybe like 300 of us or so. And it was very intimidating because a lot of these kids had parents who were attorneys, judges, so forth and so on. Federal court judges. And so they came from a background where they knew kind of where they were going. They were used to being around those people. And that wasn't me. But I think that I learned a lot from them. And I think they learned from me as well. And so I enjoyed it. It was in, what people don't realize is it was in Atlanta, but it was in DeKalb County, right? So Emory technically was like on the edge of Decatur. And I love Decatur, right? And I loved everything about Decatur. And so that was it was like such a contrast, because you step outside of Emory's campus and you're in regular DeKalb County. Kendall Road is down the road, and so that was pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I went there. What was it, my junior year at Andrews? Because I was on the debate team, so we got to kind of go and see all the things, right? But I thought we were going to Atlanta. You know what I mean? We were going to Atlanta. I was like, bet we going to Atlanta. We had just come from Detroit, I think. We were hitting the roads. I was like, bet we're going to Atlanta. And I was like, this ain't Atlanta. I mean, that was the first time I was ever called a monkey.
Oh, wow. Really?
And shout out to Randy, to Mr. Shaver, because
I did not have any of those. I didn't have that experience. The one thing I do recall is that people would say that my dialect was interesting, right? Like how I talk. They thought I was country. I'm talking about people at Emory's campus. And I'm like, for all intents and purposes, we're in DeKalb County. We're in Decatur. Like you can't, like if you step outside of this campus, right, there are people who sound similar to me with more of a Southern twang or more of a, what you think of as a down south dialect. And so I remember somebody saying like, oh, I knew that was you because I could tell by the way you talked, as if like something was wrong with the way I talk. And so I like to think that I brought a different perspective to, Emory, as far as some of my classmates. And there were other people who were very similar to me, but I like to think that I brought a different perspective, and I was just me. All I can be is me. And I have learned when I walk in courtrooms, when I walk in, different jurisdictions, this is what you get. Okay. Yeah. So one day this is my hair and one day my hair is here. Right?
One day we're flowing, darling.
Right. The way I talk, this is how I sound. This is how I talk. This is who I am. And so what I've had to realize is that like who I am, a lot of people can relate to it. And I mean, my clients, I mean, different judges, different people from different walks of life. And I think being genuine is important. And so that's what I took to Emory, and hopefully, that's where anyone else is, in a similar situation who's going to like one of those, an Ivy League school or a private school is going to take there. But yeah, I didn't deal with any racism at the time, but like it was a very different time period from when you went and from when I went, because we were in high school. That was, I'm assuming, late 90s when you went.
Yeah, 99, 98, 99.
Right. And so I was there maybe 10 years later. But I have had, so 10 years can do a lot.
But I will say this about something you did say. North Carolina does have a very distinct accent.
You think so?
Oh, yeah. I mean, especially like when I got to school, when I went to conservatory, when I was in New York, there were people who were training to learn Carolina dialect.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Right. So it's very specific because you've got like Geechee culture coming in. You've got that coastal culture, like you've got all of that stuff. So we actually do have a very specific sound. And so when people hear me, like right now I'm speaking in my American Standard English, my center pitch and my, whatever, right? Because this is going to be on YouTube. YouTube is amazing, right? So, but I mean, and I was trained, like my first day in school at conservatory, when I stood up to say, oh, my name is Miriam, I'm from North Carolina, they stopped me and were like, oh, you're going to take accent reduction classes every Tuesday and Thursday.
Oh, really?
Much. Yeah. But I have met people who have trained to learn our dialect. It's very, very real. And it's also one of the things that I think, and I think this leads to more things in our conversation. The more that I'm learning about the culture of being people who were brought up in the Carolinas and all of the stuff that like made North Carolina, that we had no idea about. I think it was like this undercurrent of like rearing that we didn't have any control of, and we just didn't know what was happening to us. Like, did you know that we were that we had a white Declaration of Independence that was written in North Carolina and
no, I did not.
And that it's still like they still have it hanging in some places, like in Wilmington and in different areas in the city. Like there's like when we were the first state to have a progressive government. So predominantly Black and progressive government ever, which was right before the massacres, the Wilmington massacre, right? Which is why the Wilmington massacre happened. They were like, we not finna have no Black government. Like, what is this? Everybody else is doing it the right way, or so they thought, right? So that's when they ended up, killing all those people. But after that, they wrote this white Declaration of Independence, and North Carolina, as its own state, almost operating as its own country, ran and developed the state around that Declaration of Independence. I didn't know that.
No, I didn't know any of that.
I didn't learn that until 4 years ago. I'm 40. Oh, wow. I'm 40 years old, and most of my family's from Wilmington. So I didn't even know there was a massacre in Wilmington.
I've heard of the Wilmington massacre. I don't know much about it, and so yeah. But we didn't learn any of that.
They didn't teach us that?
None of that, no.
But I think that I think like when you think about like your father was an activist, I know and it still is, right?
He's very much an activist. Yes.
Right.
Very, very, very much.
Right. And I'm sure that all of that undercurrent had something to do with how he was raised. And I'm sure how he shows up in the world has a lot to do with how you show up in the world, right?
Definitely.
Can you talk about that, like how being raised by an activist shows up in your work and how it defines, or helps to define who you are?
Yeah. So let me first say, my father definitely was an activist. My mother as well. That's
yeah. And don't I ain't leave that out on purpose. I'm sorry, Mom.
Yeah, that's how they met. So they were very much involved in the civil rights movement and beyond. My mom actually was kicked out of high school, her senior year before, because of her involvement in the civil rights movement. And she went on to basically get her GED immediately. She graduated early, right? And so she was always big on education. And I think that's one of the reasons why, because they tried to take that from her. And so growing up, education was, it was so important. I remember my mom working, full-time jobs and then going to school as well, always trying to go back and get her, her undergraduate degree. And I think as far as, their activism in the civil rights movement, what it taught me was to fight for my rights and other people's rights as well. Right. And so, look at me, I'm an attorney. And that's what I do. That's why I went to law school. And so, definitely a major influence, my father, he has so many stories. Like every time I'm around him, I feel like I gain something from him. And one of the things that I love the most about my dad is that he is still very much involved. He does a lot back in my hometown, High Point, North Carolina. He has formed this group called the Peacekeepers. They do a lot to give back to the community as far as, food drives and other types of drives. And, he is heavily involved with the NAACP. He was community service. He won a community service award a couple of years ago. And he's my role model, my hero. And he's very wise, and my mom is the same way. My mom is really into politics right now, and so she has been for the last number of years. And so, you know, when I call her, when I talk to her and go see her, that's what we're talking about. I think, you know, of course, how you're brought up, what you're exposed to is always going to influence you. And so I give credit to my mom, my father, my grandmother, who I tell people all the time, she was the first advocate that I met. She did not have a law degree, but she probably is the best attorney I've ever seen. Okay, like, you know, my grandmother would like get on the phone and she's calling like the mayor's office. She's calling the governor's office. She's trying to get something done. She's like talking to the Better Business Bureau. Like growing up, she's like, no, this is not right. And so being around all of that, you know, it definitely had a major influence on who I am, on what I do, on how I treat people, on what's important to me with my career, and how I use my career.
Yeah. I love that. I love that so much. So I have a question. I have so many questions. I feel like I thought I would know a lot of this stuff, but as I was like Googling you, you know, because I had to go and do my whole like Miriam as the ex-girlfriend investigator type stuff. What you got going on here? You know, I'm learning a lot about your journey that I didn't know. I think we talk more about like girl talk stuff. We do
a lot of girl talk.
Yeah, we don't talk about your work. What I'm interested in, somebody was talking to me the other day, and let me say this is a pet peeve of mine. When people try to root things in law and they don't have a expertise.
It's a pet peeve of mine too.
It's rough, right?
I cringe when I read stuff online. People do it a lot online.
A lot.
People do it a lot.
What do you find is the most, like, that you see the most, that people are like, well, the law says, or it says written here. What do you find the most that like is like, girl, no, especially in regards to like how it may be debilitating our people, like the misinformation may be debilitating.
I think for me, it is when people are commenting on like criminal cases and people's criminal cases, and you know, they're like, I mean, even if it's like a pop culture case, right? And they're like Meg Thee Stallion and
the Tory Lanez guy, yeah.
Yes, and like people are saying, oh, well, didn't happen because why is he out then? And why is he? And I'm just like, he's on bond, right? And I don't know if it happened or not. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know what happened. Like, I can't see that case file. But people on both sides, you know, say the strangest things from what they have gathered from a blog story about a criminal matter that none of us know unless it's actually like you're looking at the case file. And so that bothers me. And you know, like you just see so much. It's like people, and they say things as if they have firsthand knowledge, or as if they're attorneys and they know exactly how this works in this jurisdiction and this is what's going on. And it's most of the time it's like completely wrong, right?
Right.
And somebody, if they're reading that, you're thinking, okay, like this could be true.
Because they sell it.
I mean, and the same thing with like, and I don't know, people are tired of hearing about it, but with COVID, right? You read there's so much misinformation, right?
Right.
And out there. And so you see all this stuff and you're trying to figure out like, and I'm not a doctor, right? And
right.
Read something and it sounds like that sounds like that could be, you know, that makes sense to me. And then I know, but then you'll see like on TikTok or something, you'll see a doctor come in like refute everything that this person has said that I was going with. You know what I mean?
Right.
That sounds, yeah.
I trusted you.
Yeah. So that's how it is with legal matters. I see people say all this stuff online, and like there are people commenting and liking the post or whatever, and I'm like, they have no idea what they're talking about, right? But nobody knows that because it sounds like it could be real, and so you just see a lot of misinformation about legal stuff out, you know, like online or what you're reading on blogs, or if you're on social media. There's just a lot of misinformation. And that's scary because people now, that's our news, right? What you see on social media, you take it as the news. And so that part bothers me.
Yeah, the follow-up question is, you have people like me though, who have no background in law whatsoever, and I do not pretend to. But I like to read, right?
Mm-hmm.
So like if a case comes out, like I remember her last name was Alexander. She shot at her husband, was arrested.
In Florida, right?
Yeah. I was obsessed with that case. And I was obsessed with it because everybody was like tricking off of it. Like, oh, we need to get her out. There was like all these rallies. There was all this stuff going on. So I went and I downloaded the court documents.
Mm-hmm.
And so I read those and I was like, this don't sound like nothing we supposed to be having a public outcry. Like I was like, she shot a gun towards children. Like I was reading it and I was just like, wait. How do we as like regular people have conversations or when it's been so sensationalized?
Yeah.
That, do you have any insight on that? Like, what would you say? Like, how do we even step into conversations where it's like, y'all, I understand why you care and I understand why you think this is right, but have you considered that maybe like read the thing?
Well, this is what you have to understand. So like, I don't know anything about that case, but here's, you're reading court documents, right? And you have to say, okay, like who wrote these court documents? Because there's going to be a prosecution, there's going to be a defense side, right? And so it's like with the jury trial. I think a lot of times the jury, who goes first is the prosecution, and they put on their case in chief, right? And it sounds like, like this person did this. This is, because as lawyers, what we're doing is we're going to, and I hate to say, we have different sides. And so how we may view something is not necessarily how this other person views it. Or as a prosecutor, how you may see something, you may not necessarily know that defendant's story. You may not know everything that they're going to say. You never know what their witnesses are necessarily going to say unless you've talked to them. And still then, you don't necessarily know that whole case. Right. So this lady in Florida's case, which I think something good ended up happening. Right. But
yeah, she eventually got out. Yeah, she eventually got out.
In that particular situation, though, like whatever you're reading, you may be reading an affidavit that was written by a police officer.
I think I read her testimony.
Okay, you read. So that's different. Yeah. That's different. So I guess So what I'm trying to say is you have to read all sides and then come to a conclusion. Okay.
Just like you would if you were in the jury.
Yes, just like if you were the jury. So in your particular situation, you read her testimony, okay, and so then you've also read the prosecution side, and so you come to the conclusion of like, wait a minute, like I don't necessarily know how to support this based on what I'm reading.
I didn't.
And a lot of times, like what you said is that things have been sensationalized, and so you're reading one side in the media, and the media is only like they may not even have the full story. I've had cases with clients. And the media has dragged them, right? And they're like, oh, look at this person. He has this cruelty to children in the first degree or whatever. And I'm like, this is like the best father ever. And what you're reading is not even really what happened.
Yeah.
And so you don't.
And you've been on both sides. You were the
right. I've been on both sides.
And you were a defense.
Dismissed later. You don't read about that, right? You don't.
Yeah.
And why and all of that. And then you have situations as well where it is bad and it is horrible. And, and so I tell people, like, you have to read information from both sides and come to your own conclusion, but just understand that there's going to be a slant to it possibly from both sides. And so what you have to try to figure out the truth. Right. Like you said, act like a jury.
Which brings me to this other question. So I have a friend who will be on the show. His name is Will Snowden. And he runs the Juror Project.
Yeah, right? I heard about it from somebody.
Yeah, trying to get people
who interviewed me for the show.
Oh, yeah. Who interviewed you, Abigail or?
I don't remember.
Okay, well, they're both amazing. My girls.
She was great. I loved her.
Well, Olivia just left the country. She's going to do her junior and senior year in the Netherlands.
Interesting. I think it was Olivia.
I didn't even know about stuff like that in my junior year in high school that I could just like.
Wait, she's in high school?
Yeah.
Wait, so we're all off topic right now. But Olivia has the short hair, like the short.
Yeah,
fro.
yeah.
That's so. I would. Girl, I thought she was like 26, and not because she looks old, but
Because she's tall and she's
tall.
so.
She's also very mature. Like she can carry on a very good conversation.
She's
in Chicago.
She's down here in or her family's down here in New Orleans. Okay. She just left for the Netherlands.
Oh wow.
She's starting school. She's going to finish her high school career in Amsterdam.
That's so dope. Okay.
How dope, right?
Yeah, but I don't know if I could have done it in high school.
I would have punked out. I mean, I would have wanted to come home and like cried a bunch. You know what I mean? But like, this is.
I didn't even want to go to Durham for like, what was it? The North Carolina School of Science and Math. I got like accepted in, and I was like, I can't go. No, I mean, I can't even go an hour away.
There was somebody else who did that too. I want to say Heather Clark in my grade. She was like, not gonna do it. Yeah, but I mean, like, there's a difference in the children these days, though. Let's be very clear. Yeah. I'm actually not worried about the kids at all. Well, if we don't clean up what we messed up, I'm worried for them. Yeah. But for the most part, I think
the kids are advanced though.
They're gonna be all right. I mean,
they're way more advanced than what we were.
If you had talked, right. and the other intern, Abigail started a nonprofit when she was in 8th grade that is still existing now in her junior year and has multiple chapters getting organizing Asian Pacific Islander communities to vote.
That's amazing.
I don't know nothing about that. But let me say, so that wasn't my life coming up. I think it's amazing that these kids are doing it. But my point was, I asked you, the question I was asking you, because we were talking, I will big them up on their own later, because I'm going to have them on and talk to them later. But I'm interested. I want to talk to you about why Georgia, Augusta, why you settled there. Why is that the place you decided to open your practice? And then I got some more stuff specifically about that. I was asking you about the jury thing. I wanted to talk to you about how you feel about Black folks turning down the call to be on juries.
Please go do your civic duty. Okay. You need to be on a jury. We need to be on a jury. This is a right that we did not have for a long time. And even still today, you know, there are lawsuits about, you know, people not including Black folks on juries, right? And so we need to have a say so on what's going on in our communities. So I feel the same way about jury duty as I feel about voting and everything else. You know, this is utilize it.
Yeah.
Okay.
I feel like I'd be the person that was like, no, he didn't do it all the time. Give him a second chance. Do you know, I've never once been called to a jury duty. Never. Really? Once. I'm 40.
So you want to be? You want to be called?
I'm bad. They won't call me.
I'm going to tell you now, like when they ask the question, is there anybody who feels like you could not find this person guilty? You're like, you're off. You're gone.
I know they're going to, I know. I'm going to be like, I am objective and I want to hear all
you waited all your life, right? To get you're going to answer that question wrong. They're like, is there anybody who could not find this man guilty? You're like, I don't think I can do it. Okay, bye, ma'am. Like,
I know. I waited all my life and they're going to send my ass home. Yeah, that's me. And I've been waiting. I'm like, you know, I've seen the little yellow paper come from my mom and I'm like, oh, is it mine? No. It's ridiculous. I want to do it so bad. Please. And like one of my friends got called in for like grand jury or something. They wanted to keep her for like a week to listen to like multiple cases. And she was like, I ain't doing it. And I was like, what? So anyway, do your civic duty. I'm going to connect you with Will. I think you'd really like him. But why Augusta? Why is that where you opened your practice? Like,
listen, okay. God. And I'm gonna seriously. Okay. So initially when I moved to Augusta in 2010, it was like right during the recession, right? Remember like the Great Recession of you know that time period, right after Barack was
was in a recession for a long time before that. So
yeah, so you know, it was like remember Jeezy's album, The Recession? It was like right. You
know, okay.
Yeah, remember that?
That was a good way to.
Yeah, I had to bring you back. So right around that time, I could not find a job. Like, and a lot of people, like a lot of my classmates couldn't find a job.
Okay.
A lot of us had offers that were rescinded because of the recession. People did not want to hire. I mean, it was, it was a scary time. And so I couldn't find a job. And I started like just looking outside of Atlanta because first, let me say this. I thought I was going to retire in Atlanta. I loved Atlanta. I loved it. Okay. And I was like, I'm never moving back. I'm never moving anywhere. This is where I'm going to be. And like people say, God has other plans. And it's just like, ha, 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 ha. Okay, whatever. So I moved to Augusta. And 2010, because I got a job at the public defender's office, right? It was my first job that was like a full-time job with benefits out of law school. And I was very happy about it. And this man named Sam Sibley hired me, and he's passed away since. Like, he passed away when I was still there from cancer. I didn't even know at the time he had cancer, like, you know, but he gave me like my first chance outside of law school. And I loved my work for him. I loved it. Like, I loved everything about it. Like, he was like such a cool like boss, right? Because his whole thing was like, don't you do your work, do what you're supposed to do, whatever. Like, if you know, leave for a doctor's appointment in the last 1 hour and don't come back, I don't care. Like, you know what I mean? I'll see you tomorrow. And I would tell you something about that. I worked harder because I had that freedom. Like, I was the person that was in there on the weekends, in there in the evenings, because I had the structure of everything was not good for me. So like the fact that he was just like, as long as you get your work done, however you do it, you know, it's cool. That worked so well for me. And he was always very supportive of us, right? Of the public defenders. And so I did that for 2 years. And my mentor told me, you know, if you're going to be like, unless you want to be like a lifetime public defender, right? That you need to like leave after 2 years, explore other options. If you decide to come back, fine. But otherwise, you kind of get stuck as a public defender. You don't know what else you can do. So I left in 2 years. I moved to DC because I wanted to get out of Augusta. And like, it was a type of move where like I sold everything I had. And my daddy came and picked me up. And a little bit of stuff I did have, he drove me to DC and dropped me off and like, you know, moved me in. I was staying with a friend of mine.
Sounds so familiar.
Huh?
Sounds so familiar.
Yeah, she was a friend of mine who was already up there, and she actually like turned me on to this job. I was doing contract work for the federal government. And I had thought like, I'm so glad I'm out of Augusta. Yes, I'm back in a big city. You know, they call DC the chocolate city. I was like, oh, this is gonna be so dope, and everybody's all like neo soul, and it was so different from Atlanta though. Let me say that. Like, it was hard because I thought I was moving to, it's different from Atlanta. It's completely different.
Because it's government.
I'm a southern girl. Okay. So for me,
and it's also, like, you got to remember, it's super government.
It is. And it's super, people are very concerned about what you do for a living. And that was the part I could not get used to. Right. Like, that was the first thing they asked you before they asked you your name. It's like, well, what do you do? And I'm like, you didn't even say, hey, how are you? What is like, what is your name? It's like, what do you do? And then depending on what you do is when they say, oh, okay, my name is so-and-so. What is your name? Do you have a LinkedIn? I wasn't used to that. So it was hard. That was hard for me to get used to. But
it didn't change. It's still the same way.
It's still the same? Okay. So I thought I really wanted to be out of Augusta because I had nobody in Augusta. I didn't have any family. You know, like, I had friends that had made working at the public defender's office, but still I was like, this is not for me. I thought it was too slow for me, right? I was used to Atlanta, faster paced life and all of that. And I got to DC and I was very depressed. Okay. Like, I was extremely depressed. And my mom, who is like a prayer warrior, like, she has a prayer wall and everything in her house. She was like, you need to write a prayer letter, right? You need to write a letter to God. And I was applying for job after job after job, right? In DC, wherever. I thought like, either I didn't like my job. It was just horrible. So I was very depressed. I wrote a prayer letter one night, and my prayer letter was basically like, God, put me where I'm going to be loved, where I'm going to have real, genuine friends, where it's the best place for me as far as to get out of this depression. And because that's what I felt like I was missing. Like, I was missing like friendship and like social interaction and people that love me genuinely. It wasn't a superficial, you know, and not, there was no shade to my homegirl, like, not her, like, everything was great with her, but like, outside of her, I could not get with the energy there. So I wrote that prayer letter, went to bed. The next day I got a call from, her name is Kelly McIntyre. She's a judge now in, you know, my jurisdiction. At the time, she had just won she had just been elected Solicitor General. Right, it was like right after November.
What is a
Solicitor General? Is like the head prosecutor of misdemeanors, right, in Georgia, or as far as for each jurisdiction. Mm-hmm. So she had just been elected Solicitor General. She was the first Black woman Solicitor General of this county, and she calls me the next day out of the blue. And keep in mind, like I kind of stayed, and, like watched her campaign from afar, not like too heavily involved. I just knew her from when I was a public defender. She was a solicitor. Assistant solicitors, what the title was. We just knew each other, in passing. She calls me that very next day and says, "Hey, I want you to come to, Augusta, come back to Augusta to work for me. Are you interested?" And it was to like run the DUI, drug, and court and all of that. And for me, that I was like, wow, right? And so I got a second call that day from this federal government job in Virginia. They said, "Hey, we got your resume, this, that, and the other. We want to do an interview." I did an interview. I got that job. So at this time, I'm like, okay, God, like what? Like
you blowing me up.
What am I supposed to do? And so I decided to move back to Augusta, despite the fact that I said I was never moving back to Augusta. Yeah. I moved back to Augusta because I knew that I felt like genuine people here, and I felt love here. And so I moved back. That was in 2013. And even with starting my practice, I prayed about that and prayed about it. And I had there's an attorney here, Marty Pitts, who basically came to me and was like, "I want to help you open up your own law practice." I was thinking, I went to him. I had my resume and stuff together. I was hoping to ask him for a job, right, in his law firm. And so I'm like, okay, I'm about to start talking about like salary or something. And he's kind of like, "Wait, hold on. No. I'm going to help you open up your practice. Like not work for me, but like I'm going to help you." And so he kind of taught me the ropes with opening up a law practice. And I did that, and I have been successful since. That was 2017. So I'm now
she got
engaged.
Billboards. She got all.
Yeah,
I fangirled you when I saw the billboard situation.
Thank you. Yeah, it's been. God has been good. So
and I'll say this, especially when I found out that you might have been who told me that like only 2% of all lawyers
are Black women, right?
Are Black women, right?
It's like 5% Black people in general. Like 2% are Black women in the United States. And so, I'm happy. Augusta has been good to me. And I hope to be good to Augusta. I have, and like I said, I'm engaged now. Everything has worked out. My fiance is from here, so everything has been great. And so I'm glad that God in my life that He figured out, like where I need to be going with it. Because literally, if it was up to me, I probably would be in Atlanta, like miserable.
We're not gonna just fly. We're not gonna just skate past that you just tossed out there that you a whole fiance now. We're not gonna.
September 12th, I will be a wife.
Oh my gosh, I'm so happy for you.
Thank you.
You deserve it.
Thank you.
You deserve good love. You deserve.
So even with this, like I was never that girl growing up that like, oh, I'm dreaming about getting married and having all my children and white people. That was never me. You know what I mean? But it is here, and and I'm loving it, and I'm happy, right? So
yeah, I said by 26 I was gonna be married with 2 kids. And
Did you? Girl, that was never me. Like I was.
I didn't have the whole like, oh, I'm gonna be in this beautiful white dress and it's gonna be a ceremony. I didn't have all that, but because of like my cousins and my aunties and like that's just what they did.
Yeah.
So I was like, me too. This might as well be it. No. Okay. It's time to play a game. It's time to play a game. I still don't have.
Ready. I'm scared. I'm scared a little bit.
Why?
Oh, okay, go ahead. I'm ready.
Have you ever seen any of the games we play? They're very simple.
Okay.
They're very easy. This game is called. There's really no name for it. I call it questions that feel important.
Okay.
Questions that feel important. We're going to start with a very easy one. Just if you had to describe your perfect day, what would it be?
Oh, wow. My perfect day. So I think, I'm a lawyer. So now I'm having like all these questions about it. Like,
nope. Yeah, I ain't finna answer them because I'm not a lawyer. And I'm also not.
is.
I'm also not a criminal.
My perfect day in general, because like my perfect day in general, like I probably would be on an island. It's warm weather. I'm able to relax on the beach. Like I'm eating like breakfast on the beach. I get to just relax and read. Right. I love to read, and it would be with my daughter. And matter of fact, my whole family, right? So like everybody would be there. That would be amazing. Yeah, everybody would be there, and so of course Christian and my Antonio, my fiance, and like all my nieces and nephews and my brothers and my sisters and like my mom and my dad who are like divorced and both have remarried and all of that. Still, everybody there. Stepmom, my dad, my mom, everybody's there. We're all just chilling, right? Just relaxing.
Yeah, a break for the whole crew.
Yes, just a break everybody gets a break. That would be my perfect day.
I love that. All right. What is the greatest accomplishment of your life?
Christian. And I don't even just mean, of course, having her and raising her, but
Christian is her daughter.
Yeah, raising her, right? Like if I would not have had Christian, I don't think I could have started my own law practice. I'm gonna be honest. I would not have had the courage to step out there. There's a lot of things that I have done that seeing that, okay, Ashanti, because for a while I was a single mom, right? Like completely single mother. And thanks to Antonio, I'm no longer a single mom. Like he has definitely, like he is, taking on a serious father role in her life. But for a while, I was a single mother in a city where I had no family. And you look, how this goes.
I do know.
And where I did not have the type of friends that were like, I didn't have like friends who were like parents either. So they didn't even understand like the level of stress that I was under. And
or you have friends that were parents, but they had so much more support.
Right. Yeah. Right. Like I didn't. I mean, like I remember I had the flu one day, or I had the flu. No. I had like bronchitis, and I think it turned into pneumonia. But anyway, I go into Christian's daycare, and she's like probably like 5 or 6 months old, and I'm shaking. Right. I didn't even realize it. And so Christian's daycare teacher was like, "Are you okay? Like you're shivering so bad." And I'm like, "Huh?" And she was like, she felt my head, and she was like, "You're burning up. You need to go to a doctor. Like you're sick." And I thought, okay, I have a cold. And so I ended up going, I had pneumonia. Like it was, you know what I mean? Like, but it was, I have to get her to daycare, and then I have to go to work, and then I have to, so raising my baby and doing it. And for me, that's my biggest accomplishment. It's more than like running a business. It's just. And
she glows.
Thank you.
Can just
she's
see
the sweetest person.
You can see it. You can tell when a baby is fed and loved on, and you know what I mean. You can see it. She just glows. So you're doing it. So I say yes. That is an accomplishment.
Yeah. Christian, raising Christian like that. That's my biggest accomplishment.
I love that. Okay. When did you last cry?
Oh my goodness. Let's see. Miriam, when did I last cry? Oh, a couple days ago. Yeah, I was stressed out. A couple days ago. But I'm a crier though. Like I'll cry without a problem.
Okay. I'm not a crier. I'm not a crier.
I cry.
That's a lie. I be crying all the time. You're the second person.
Yeah, I cry.
Me and Napo were just talking about this. I said we some soft ass thugs. We be out here.
Yeah, I cry. Like I have to do it in order to like release like the stress, the tension. Like something has to come out of me.
Yeah.
And like I think I would rather it be tears than me just like flipping out on somebody or negative words or any of that. Right. And so it's like, that's how I release pressure. So yeah, I cry.
I appreciate that you're thoughtful enough to even say something like negative words.
Yeah, because you have to be like, we have to,
I don't agree. We live different lives.
Well, yeah, I try to be nice. I try.
I'm nice by nature.
Okay.
Did we just?
All I can think about is like naughty by nature now. You know that, right?
Okay. All right. Next question. Your house containing everything you own catches fire. After saving your loved ones and your pets, you have time to safely make a final dash to save any one item. What would it be?
Oh gosh, that's a good question. Like I'm looking around. I'm at home now, so I'm looking around. This is sad, but like my phone. Like, I know. Listen.
Assume your phone is in your pocket.
Okay. Like I'm trying to think. So I'm gonna tell you something, okay? And a lot of people I know don't believe in astrology and all that. However, I'm a Pisces, so like material is, believe it or even though we like material things because we like the quality.
I was about to hear you lie. Go ahead.
No, listen. So like I like material things as far as not that like, oh, this is a material thing. Like I like great quality, right? And so sometimes that coexists. Like it's like an expensive item and it has great quality. And so that's why I like it. Not necessarily because of the name brand, but because of or whatever. Mm-hmm. So it's hard for me because like I really don't. I'm trying to like I don't. What do I care? I mean, other than loved ones,
I feel like it's okay to say that you ain't going back in.
I don't. Yeah, I don't. Girl, I don't think I'm going back in. I'm also not a risk taker. That takes. You have to. like I don't. I'm not a risk taker.
I feel like that's what you were weighing out. Is it worth it? Like,
yeah, like I don't see anything. I'm looking around like, no. I mean, we got insurance. Insurance is for, right?
Now we got insurance.
You want me to risk my life to come back into the house to grab what? I don't know.
Okay. All right. Last question. I need theme music. So I need I need my games to have like a dun 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 dun.
Yeah, it would be nice.
I'm gonna get it. Just wait till I level up. That may never happen if I can be very clear.
No, you're gonna level up and up and up and up and up.
What, if anything, is too serious to be joked about?
Oh goodness. You know what? Illness, children being hurt, or harmed, or abused. Those two things for me are like, like the whole the baby thing, like when he talked about people with AIDS, that's the part that stung me. Like outside, I mean, everything was wrong and it was horrible, whatever. But I'm like, these are people, they can't, this is a disease. It's like cancer. Like why are we still like, why don't you still have this stigma? You know what I mean? Like I don't think that's funny. I just
feel like, I wonder, it's 2021. I feel like the line has just vanished. Yeah. Like, like there's no street code anymore. Like you got people being killed in front of elementary schools. You know what I'm saying? Like there's like no, like we're not joking.
I'm not a big cancel culture person. Let me say that because I want to clarify that. Okay. So like even with his whole situation and stuff he said, like I was like, oh, I can't believe because that, like I have lost somebody from HIV, AIDS. Okay. Like I've lost or from, AIDS related illnesses. So somebody very close to me. So that hurt me. Like that to me was not funny. But so that means let's cancel him, right? Like
I'm gonna say I say a lot that I'm not a cancel culture person. Like I say that out loud in public all the time. In this moment, though, I think I just realized I don't like the fact that it is a thing that we have named cancel culture. Like the idea of cancel culture makes me uncomfortable. But leaving somebody where they at does not make me uncomfortable at all.
Yeah. Okay. I see what you're saying. Yeah.
Like if you come to me and you make a joke about a baby being hurt.
Yeah.
I'm fine leaving you where you at.
Yeah. But see, that's not canceling.
But I don't have to make it a big thing. I don't got to go tell everybody I left you where you at.
Right. And also the people who like you probably didn't listen to this music anyway, but now you're like canceling this person. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I could not name one
when it becomes
baby
like
song.
This whole popular, trendy type of thing, where basically all you're trying to do at this point, I can't even say if you even care about what they said. It's just you want to ruin somebody. Because everybody should have some room to grow. It doesn't mean that I have to like listen to yourself anymore. But so I see what you're saying. That I agree.
Yeah, and I think that there's a It's just like critical race theory, right? Like, I personally, of course, I'm a Black woman. We need to be talking about race in school. I'm raising a Black boy. We need to be talking about race in school. We need to be talking about all the shit that y'all did. When it was named critical race theory, though, I immediately was like, now we've turned it in, instead of just saying we need to teach the truth.
Right. Yeah.
It had to. I feel like it was turned into that thing so that it would be challenged.
Well,
right, and I feel like
now,
that's the same thing with cancel culture. Like,
so combative, right? Like everything is so combative, and I'm not. It drains me. Okay, like I'm like an introvert, and so like I have to tell people sometimes I can't hear this today. Like I can't even hear about it. I can't deal with this today. I can't deal with the hate today, right? Because everything is so combative, and like it gets to the point where people don't even see common ground because they're so mad, and they're like, I definitely can't agree with you because you're this label, and I can't agree with you because you're that label. Where a lot of times, like if people would just listen, like we probably agree more than you think. But I'm very good.
I'm very good these days at saying, I can't manage your feelings about this right now.
Yeah.
Like I had someone, I mean, I have no idea what's happening at my house. Right? No idea. And I had someone text me, and this is somebody I love, right? Somebody texted me and was like, hey, checking in. And so she was like, is everything okay? And I wrote, yep. Because I was the answer in that moment, right? The answer changes, it fluctuates, but in that moment, the answer was yep. And the response back was like, I feel like you're being curt or something. And I was like, I can't manage your sensitivities in this moment. But I realize I say that a lot. I'm constantly telling people your sensitivities are not my issue in this moment. And I need you to go figure out how to manage those on your own. But I don't think that I would say that 18 to, let me not put it in a box. Because some of these 40-year-olds are doing it too.
I was about to say,
but there's a crew. Yeah, let me not put it in a box because it might actually just be our crew. But I feel like there's like a large group of people that like we have decided that we've been harmed. In many cases we have. And that we're ready to fight back, and we should. But that the fight back means anything that could be construed as negative towards anything, right? It is on the battlefield. Y'all got, and I'm saying this to anybody watching, anybody who comes and checks this out later. Y'all got to preserve your peace, man.
Yes.
Sometimes people ain't really talking about you. Sometimes it ain't. Sometimes it's not a phobia or an ism sometimes it's a personal preference, and that's okay. And just like I got my preferences, you got your preferences, you got your this, you got that. As long as whatever is being said is not meant to trivialize your experiences or knock you off, knock you down or send you into a hospital fit, it might not be somebody trying to hurt you. That's my.
And also, we just can't be mad at everything all the time. Like I can't do it. I don't have the energy. I'm telling you, like I have to preserve it because you know what? Because like sometimes people say you never.
And you work in a very difficult field too. Let me pause for a second.
People do not understand that because as an attorney, I know I have like a few more minutes, but like as an attorney, like I'm a problem solver, right? So anybody that's coming to me, you have some problem, except for adoptions, which is my favorite thing to do because nobody has a problem. You know what I mean? Like it's all love, it's all good, everybody's happy, whatever. But everything else, if you come to hire me, if you come to do a consultation, whatever, you have a problem, right? And and don't get me wrong, and this is what I do, and I do it for a reason because I love helping people. And so if I can help you fix your problem, that's amazing. You know what I mean? But I deal with problems all the time. I deal with family law all the time. I deal with people who are like, I have criminal cases where people are facing life in prison. You know what I mean? I deal with people like losing their kids, and I deal with people, just all kinds of issues. And so, and even sometimes it's a small issue. Like today it was an issue about selling the house, and it was coming down to like $3,000 about who was going to get this extra, and so that doesn't seem like much, but I'm like, okay, but there's still a problem. Mm-hmm. And then people say, why don't you answer your phone? Right? Like in my personal life. Like when I go
you
home,
don't though.
I know, but I have to decompress.
But that's okay. And I'm going to say this. I'm going to say this to anybody, again, anybody who watches, anybody who might watch, anybody who's going to see it later, anybody who's here now. Be selective when you call people like Ashanti and me. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like ask yourself, if I was my homie, would I really actually need this, right? You know what I'm saying? Like before you do it, because I think what happens is, because you're a problem solver, right? And I am too. I am too, not on the level that you are, but I appreciate people coming to me seeking resolve, right? Mm-hmm. I find most people come to you saying they're seeking resolve, but they're not actually prepared to find it, right? Which makes the conversation long and draining, and you got to do way more work than you were anticipated doing on this phone call while you eating your Chipotle or whatever, right? So I say, if you have people in your life who are advocates, if you have people in your life who spend their every freaking waking minute taking care of people, right? Before you call them to talk about whatever it is you call them to talk about, just think about it first.
Think about it.
Just think about it first.
I know.
Think about it first.
I tell people, like, it's like, because here's the thing. When you're in need, I'm like an amazing friend. Like, I'm that friend. Like, if you're in need, I'm there. Okay?
I don't know if I'm that friend, but go ahead.
And even sometimes if it's just to shoot shit, like if it's just, hey, let's just talk about what I'm there sometimes too. But like if I'm going through like a high stress level case or whatever is going on, sometimes I literally have to decompress. Okay. And what I have come to realize too is like, and
you got to raise a kid.
Right. I have to raise a kid. And so I leave work, and keep in mind, I talk for a living and I love to talk. We all know that. Okay. But like I talk for work. Mm-hmm. If I'm in court all day, I'm talking in court all day. By the time I get home, that phone is like somewhere else. Like I don't even care what's going on my phone.
Because you got to talk to Christian.
Right. Because I'm dealing with Christian. I'm, doing whatever. I'm doing the family thing. So, and I think a lot of times, a lot of my closest people to me get that. And I have a couple people who still don't understand that. And I'm like, it's not me trying to be rude. It's me protecting my peace.
Yeah. And I'll also say for me, I can't speak for Ashanti, but I'll say for me, if you are the type of person that is frustrated that I don't answer my phone, that's cool. But you know what would fix that? Text.
Yeah. Exactly.
It would fix, or Marco Polo. Marco Polo is bomb. Send me a little message. I'll read it when I'll send you a little video back. We take your time.
Wait, hold on. What's is this an app?
Oh yeah, Marco Polo is the video text message. It's the video.
Wait,
it's
do
like
you have Android? Do people do like 9? Do iPhone users use that? I never.
Yes, iPhone users also use it.
Okay.
It's an app.
Okay.
Yes, I know that you guys are a little impartial to connectivity. I am aware. Like, love, laugh, whatever. But yes, you do have the capability to actually engage with folks through the iPhone.
I don't know. It's a little. I don't know.
So anyway. And actually, I'm tell you,
I'm just trying to figure out if it's like an Android.
Yeah, no, it is. It's an app, and the funny thing is, we're using it. So some of the questions I asked you today come from this thing called 36 questions, and you're actually supposed to use them with like your boo. I picked the ones that weren't so boo heavy, but they're supposed to.
You are my boo.
But you are my boo. And you look so good. You look so good.
Thank you. So do you. Thank you. I had to go upstairs and throw some lip gloss on before then. I was like, oh my gosh.
You should have seen me waiting. I was like, she finna come. I'm finna get my. I went and got my little light out the trunk, and I'm sitting here fleeing a storm. And do you know I packed my ring light? Oh,
so that's what you would go back in the house to get? Is that what you would go back in your money? Is that it?
That is not what I would.
Yes. It's the equivalent.
That's not. I went and got it because I was thinking, damn, am I going to do this show with Ashanti?
No, listen. And the email you send about like getting prepared for the show, it's like, and by the way, good lighting is very important. And I'm like, thank you, ma'am. I was like, I hope my lighting. Like, on here before we went live, it's like, oh, your lighting is good too. And I'm like, okay. All right.
I would have gotten my picture, for the record, I would have picked and put my altar in a box. That's what I would do.
Okay. You're all that makes a lot of sense.
Because I have some original photos of people that I never met, that I feel like carry me through.
Yeah.
And I would be terrified of losing those. So I would take those. But
see, I'm also not sentimental. That's probably also why I can't figure out anything to go to, because my mom is not sentimental. Like my mom, like she me and my brother.
You're not sentimental?
No, I'm not. I'm not at all. Like, girl, I don't save anything. I don't care. Like, this is just whatever. Mm-mm.
Like I had a moment today, the question about when was the last time you cried, it was like an hour or so before I got on this thing with you. I had a moment today and I was thinking, well, it didn't flood, but everybody's talking about like all this stuff that could happen, like, you know, the power line, something could catch on fire, or maybe your house is one of the houses at the roof. And my house is kind of raggedy, not gonna lie. Like I haven't purchased my home yet. I'm still renting there in New Orleans because I'm still new. So I was like, oh God, what if the like roof messed up? And I was like, I didn't take my grandmom's picture.
Oh.
I didn't take my records. My son's first teddy bear is at the house. Like I'm a sap.
Yeah, see, none of that. Like I can't tell you what Christian's first. I don't have one of those books, those baby books. Like I didn't
do a baby book.
Yeah. Listen, I'm glad that you are safe.
Thank you.
It's so good to see you.
You too.
Keep in mind, you know, I don't like calling and texting, but I did text you to be like, "Hey, are you okay?"
You did. And you know what? That's not the first time you've done that. You make time.
I'm good about.
Yeah. You've checked on me a couple times. Sometimes it'd be real random, like what did you just see that made you think you needed to check on me? But I don't.
Energies.
Yeah.
But I'm so happy that you're okay and that you're safe and that
we're
you're
blessed.
Good.
We're good.
And that you still found, you know, your environment, right? You found your spot, even if it was just for this.
And I needed this, so I'm grateful for you. And I said this will be a beautiful distraction. It was. I have my champagne to celebrate you.
Thank you.
I am so happy for you. I'm ecstatic. I was so pumped when you finally opened your practice. We all knew it was coming, but I was so pumped when it happened. I'm so like, I don't have the words to express how I feel about you finding the type of love that would actually make you say, I'm getting married, right?
Yeah. You know, my mom told me, like, until she met Antonio, like, she loves Antonio. But before that, and my mother, who has been married like 3 times, her second husband passed away. Her last husband just passed away a year ago. And then my dad was her first husband. Yeah. So, but she is don't get married. She should tell me, like, you don't want to get married. Trust me.
Yeah.
And except for Antonio, like she's very happy about, you know, us getting married. But yeah,
I think that's because Christian blessed it.
Girl, yes, it's really all about Christian.
Yeah, we're not gonna pretend like we don't know that. But I'm happy that like that's another reason why I don't have the words, because you know, and I. You know, I don't pretend to be a prophet or anything like that, but I mean, we know there's like some shit coming down the pike for you, right? Like we know that now that you've got the type of support you need to go out and do the real big stuff, bigger than what you've already done. I'm excited to see how you change the landscape of Augusta.
Well, thank you.
And I'm excited about it. I think it's going to be really important. Even if it's not stuff that we see or we hear about, you know, on the news and loud, I hope you know to celebrate yourself and to celebrate your wins as they come. Yeah.
So Shug is what I call her, but Clarissa, who is one of my team members at my office, who works with me, that's her main thing. Like, you never celebrate, you never like post about your wins, and I'm just like, you know.
It's important.
I need to do it more. And by the way, though, can I tell you how much I love this tribe talk? And this was so much fun. Like, this is like the funniest thing I've ever done. Like, this is dope.
Yay!
Yeah.
Well, yes, and the point is, I have stellar friends from here to the UK to wherever, right? All doing amazing things. And I think people forget that people like you are still human beings who have regular shit to do. You got your baby. Before you got on here, you were like, dang, I could have a drink, but I ain't got it with me. I ain't gonna leave. I only got a minute left. You know, like you're like where we are all, who you just admitted multiple times that you need time to breathe and decompress and take care of yourself. You know, like all of these things, I think
women, that's so important. Okay.
Yeah, and I think people forget that because we see you as attorney Ashanti Lilley.
Yeah.
You know, we forget to separate you from your work and allow you to just be this girl from North Carolina who's out here kicking ass, but also has like real life stuff to enjoy, not just deal with, but to enjoy. And so I'm so, every time I see you take a trip, every time I see, you know, whatever, I'm just like, yes, that's what she's supposed to be doing. Yes. Let me not text her right now because she out there swimming.
No, you can text me.
You know, I see you. This is right.
Thank
but this is saying I see you. I'm serving as a witness, and I know there are tons of people who are serving as witnesses. We all see you. We are all excited for you. We are all supporting you, and I'm praying for you.
Thank you.
Look. I ain't one of
That's
people
what I need. I need your prayers.
We selective in who we let pray. So you need to ask permission first before you start putting us on your list. We don't know how you do. But I'm praying for you.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
I'm just pumped.
I'm pumped.
We are we are done. We are done. But before we go, I want you to tell people where they can find you if they need you. Like as far as your office, whatever, or if they can follow you online, you know, whatever you need to say, whatever you want to do. This is your, you got a minute to tell us everything we need to know.
Sure. Follow me on Instagram at Ashanti Lilley Law. You can also follow just my personal page at Attorney Ashanti. Facebook, Ashanti Lilley Law on Facebook as well for my business page. Website, AugustaAttorney.net.
Yep. And if you want to send her a little thank you for being so amazing and for supporting us, a little gift, and you know, label it congratulations on love, we support you. What's your Cash App?
Ashanti 222.
Ashanti 222. You can drop her a love.
I'm gonna post it on my birthday like everybody else to see what I get.
Wait, that's not your. Wait, say it again.
Ashanti 222.
Is 222 your birthday?
Yeah.
Why did I never put that together? You know, 222 is like a major angel number.
Is it?
Yeah.
Well, you know, this next year is 222.
222 is like it's all about foundation and covering and protection.
Well, I need it. And God has covered me. Trust me.
That makes your mother did that.
Yes.
We talking about her activism, but
that's Christian's birthday too.
Google it. Look up angel number 222. You got to see it yourself, and look at it biblically as well. But anyway, Ashanti 222. If you want to drop her a love offering, tell her thank you for all the things that she does in the community, and also congratulations on her forthcoming wedding, which will be here any day now. We love you.
I love you too.
And this has been another Tribe Talking on a Tuesday with Miriam, and we will see you next week. Bye. That's my outgoing music. Bye bye.